Down in the Den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth's about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Welcome to another stellar episode of Down in the Den. It's your boy Mars, aka Marlon Beardo, the bearded weirdo, the Stella Rosa Casanova, the creator of culture and the Shud Knight of the podcast game. And I am here on probably the most incredible episode in our 5-year history. I got my own personal Fantastic Four here. Some of the most talented gentlemen that I have ever met in my life. 3 of these gentlemen have already been on the show individually. Raps, of course, you know him. He might as well be my co-host. He's been on the show so many damn times. NYBD, Al Unique, and of course, the incredible Dre Haze. So I want to start by just giving you guys your flowers for keeping it authentic, for keeping the music alive. I love that shit. That's why I'm glad that you guys are here. I cursed in the first 20 seconds. Remind me to edit that out. And I just want to thank you guys for coming on another episode of Down in the Den, man. So how you brothers been?
Fantastic. Great to be here.
Yeah, man. This is the shit. Thanks for everybody for showing up, man. Hey, how many times have I been on the show, Mars?
This has got to be 5 or 6. That's just your show.
More than anybody else, right? More than any other artist you've interviewed.
Absolutely. That's no question. That's no question.
Like, you asked me to come interview. Who knew we'd become like best friends and shit?
This is my brother. This is my guy right here. I'd give him my kidney, and I only have 1.5.
Is that how they do that?
So hey, I appreciate that.
No Diddy, but I give him.
But like, so you know, I've been on the show so many times. So to hype this current album, you know, there's not a big interim between this last drop with my album Baps and the next album coming out, which Mars produced, actually. It's called Old Dirty Cracker. So, you know, we're going to have a lot of momentum going into that release. Obviously, we're going to be doing another episode because it's, you know, it's like Down in the Den is the name of one of the fucking tracks.
Right.
Al Unique's on that one. He knows. So, I'm sorry. I'm not swearing too much, bro.
No, we're good. We're good. We just had to get through the first 20 seconds. And now that we're good.
First 20. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But anyways, to that end, that's why I wanted to bring on the whole crew, spice things up, because I'm sure anybody that listens to this show on the regular has, you know, heard all about me, is all up to date on my stuff. So I thought it would be, you know, just as interesting to include everybody that contributed to this project. We've been working on it for a few years now. And I've been working with, you know, all you gentlemen for even longer. So it's, you know, I thought it would be cool to just, you know, we could talk about the album, but also just highlight everybody's individual skills and let everybody know what you guys got going on too.
Absolutely. And that's what we want to do. Not to steal drink champs, but we want to give these kings their flowers, because the whole thing about the Den is that we support the real. And we're not talking about gangster real like the 90s. We're talking about the people that love the music, that create the music, that make the music, that really is going to last the test of time. So I want to, of course, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ODC, and we're going to talk about what these gentlemen have going on. So I want to start by introducing everybody, all the Den mates, all the friends of the Dens. If you haven't seen the show before, if you haven't seen an episode with Raps before, if you haven't seen an episode with NYBD, if you haven't seen an episode with Al before, I want to introduce these gentlemen and let you know where we're finding them. We're just going to get into, you know, talking music and having fun. So I want to start with my man Dre. This is our first time having the pleasure to meet, but I've heard the music for many years now. So please tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you got into this music game.
Man, how I got into it. First off, Dre Haze, Pennsylvania representing, specifically the Blairsville area, which you've never heard of before. It's in the middle of nowhere. But music's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Like I remember actually seeing a VHS tape. I may have been like one. And if you said you grew up in the 80s, so you may have heard of D Nice.
Of
Like
course.
they call me D Nice. That
My
song,
name
like
is
I'm
Nice. Taking
yeah,
out
that's the
when
joint.
you don't
I'm
know how
like
I
1 years
did.
old. My uncle was holding one of them little kids snare drums. I'm playing to that shit. Like it's always been something that has been in my life.
I
And
did expect to hear that reference. That's what's up. It makes so much more sense now.
yeah, like it's always been the real. It's always been supported that way. Like that's my family. Like that's how I came through this. And then I actually just over time picked up rapping like just naturally. Usually using some of them more not mainstream people's verses because I couldn't rap to begin with, and I'm stealing those and then and presenting them to everybody. Everybody think I'm just the nicest person ever. So I started off that way and then started to learn how to write a little bit myself, and then formed a group with my cousin, and we had a little rap duo for a while that started to pick up. Got our couple of songs on the radio and stuff. We were actually opening for Wiz right before he blew up. And I just kind of fell out of that because it started to become more about just kind of a look and a sound and not really the music so much. And then that kind of made me dig a little deeper into the crates and things. And that's what this whole sound that I have now, where that all kind of developed from.
Shout out to
And
Blaze, man.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's pretty much it though. That's the origin stories of it. That's pretty much where it all came from.
I love it. And you've already seen the origin stories for the other guys. If you haven't, go ahead and watch those episodes, man. It's incredible. All three of those gentlemen are incredible.
I got an origin story.
Okay, let's do.
Cortex is in the building. Producer hat. So it's Cortex is in the building right now. So it's my origin story. So I was a young whippersnapper in New York. I think I'm in Queens, New York at this time. I was born in Brooklyn, but I'm living in Queens. And I had a cousin that came. He moved from Texas. And this is like 87, 88. And he came with a big radio and 4 cassette tapes. Run DMC, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, and Public Enemy. And that's all I knew.
That's
Prior to that, I didn't even like the I wasn't feeling that. But when he came with those 4 cassettes, I was just inspired. And I've just been beating on tables ever since.
That's a hell of an origin story and a hell of a first 4 to start
Yeah, that's
with.
an introduction for sure.
That's
That's
a
crazy.
hell of an introduction right there. Public Enemy for a long time was my favorite group of all time. My brother, who's 10 years older than me, which is one of the reasons I was listening to music that I had no business listening to, he gave me 2 tapes. Too Short, Life is Too Short, and Public Enemy, Fear the Black Planet. Those are the first 2. Was those balloons?
Yeah, well, balloons going off.
What the hell?
And it's not stopping.
I didn't touch it and say that's so creepy. I thought I was tripping. I was like, I didn't even smoke yet. What the hell? But that was my introduction. Raps, what was your introduction? Do you remember your introduction to hip hop?
Oh, my introduction to hip hop was I was like 8 years old, and my babysitter was watching MTV, and the music video for "Insane in the Brain" came on. Man, that was my very first ever time hearing hip hop in my ear, and I went fucking insane. I didn't know what my body was. I was like jumping up and down on the couch. She's like, "Stop that."
Can't stop breakdancing.
Right.
Al, how about you? Do you remember your first introduction to hip hop?
Man, I can't even go that far back because my uncle who lived in the crib with me, I lived in a real crowded crib in Jersey, Elizabeth, and my uncle was a break dancer from before I was born, in the early '80s, and I think the first time my grandfather, like in '87, I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. He asked me, "Hey, can you dance? We Haitian." So they playing Haitian music, and he asked me, "Can I dance?" And I'm break down into a backspin on the dance floor. He's like, "Nah, that's not dancing." And then I think music wise, I think Microphone Fiend when I was 5 was the
Mm,
first song that actually like resonated with me. But I didn't understand hip hop as a culture. It was just all around me. Rakim, Rock Bass was a song. The It Takes Two, and the Humpty Dance was my shit. But I really, really, really got into hip hop. I say around like '93 when Naughty by Nature dropped, and then Wu Tang 36 Chambers in like late '93, early '94. I was a hip hop head from then, and I was in a group. One thing I didn't mention to you before was that I was living in Orlando at one point in my teenage years, and I started a group. Me and these guys, Team Prolific, we put out mad mixtapes and stuff, and was running around there selling them joints in front of the clubs and everything, performing, tearing down shows. Those are my early beginnings in this hip
man.
hop world.
See the consistency. All of us, our introduction were legends. I feel bad for this new generation because their first introduction, and no shade to anybody if you're out there doing it, you're out
Shade, shade.
there.
Shade, all of it.
But imagine if your first introduction was Sexy Red. You know what I mean? Like, god damn, like I feel bad for this next generation, man. I feel bad. But y'all are keeping it alive. So I appreciate that, and thank you so much for sharing that origin story, man. So let's dig into the current album because all of you guys had a part of this album. I've already given my review so far. It's my favorite hip hop album of the year so far. I love boom bap. That's kind of my style. Even though I was really introduced to West Coast first, once I started listening to like Rakim and BDP was my shit. Like back then you couldn't tell me anything about KRS-One. He was like God to me. So tell us a little bit about the album and the creation and the intent is what I'm most interested in on creating because it's definitely a departure from the previous release. But I've always known you've had that in you for a long time. Um, Probably one of the most diverse MCs that I've heard in a long time. And notice I use the word MC. So tell me a little
Are you
bit.
talking? Is this question directed to the nicest crack in NYC?
Yes, yeah. This is just about the creation of Baps and some of the joints that you guys did together.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, the album's called Baps, and everybody here is here because they had a major contribution to the project. Dre Haze fully produced every track. Our Unique is featured on 2 of the songs, and Cortex has mixed the
I'm
whole
on the
thing.
boards.
He's on the boards. Everything I do, he's on the boards. Everything I've ever put out, and he's also the publisher too. So you probably should have writing credit on all those
Welcome
songs.
to Death Row.
That's it.
You know, also in
I often
dancing in
tell
the
people,
videos.
I often tell people Johnny Raps is a 2-man group, and Cortex is the 50% of that group that they don't see all the time. So that's also part of the origin story. There is just how I met Cortex randomly one night at a dive bar in Brooklyn while we were talking to a ghost hunter. And I put the ghost hunter up my ass. Basically, he thought I
True
was
story.
crazy, started shooting the shit. Yeah, the ghost hunter is that's a long crazy story. He had devices and everything. He was trying to get me to come on the hunt.
Shit.
I was like, I don't know what you might do to me, bro.
Like, why do you have 2,000 bottles of baby oil? Don't worry.
But anyway, so yeah, everybody contributed to the album. The album's called Baps. It mainly came together in an organic sense, where it was just a lot of the stuff that I've done has been produced by Cortex himself. And the first producer that I worked with outside of that was Dre. And I think, the relationship here is that we're both from this middle of nowhere town, Blairsville, PA. and that's part of why it's called Baps. You know, it's a reference to boom bap rap. So Baps, it's in there. It has nothing to do with the Halle Berry movie. Just want to make that clear. There's no
That's my
reference
shit,
to
though.
the
I love
Halle
that
Berry
movie.
movie. But there's also, you know, also another long-term project I've been working on is you know, the other LP that Cortex and I have started. We started it around the same time we started recording Part-Time Rapper, and it's raps. You know, there's a title track, raps. And that's another just long-term project that's coming together organically as we go, which is more along the lines of the boom bap stuff. And so I was kind of, you know, always on the search for more beats like that. I don't honestly remember how I came across your SoundCloud, Dre. I think it might have been, you know, my best friend Tad from home. I think was like trying to put me onto your rap, and so
I think that's what it was.
he was like, "Yo, you got to go listen to Dre and his SoundCloud. He's a really good rapper, and you guys should collaborate and stuff like that." And you know, the bars is nice, bro. I would totally be down to do that sometime. Sidebar, anytime I could come to like Pittsburgh and we can maybe jump on a rap.
I'll drive.
Was spitting or not?
Hey, I might have to. I've been trying to jump back into it a little bit. I kind of lost my love for it after a while, but I got a few things I could talk about now. I might jump back into it.
Yeah, you can come back to it. The pen might just explode. You don't know. But
True story.
yeah, so I just came across, and then I noticed his SoundCloud was just full of beats. So I started listening to the beats, and they were just slapping. So you know, I immediately started recording stuff to his beats, and we worked entirely remotely for like I don't know when the first time I recorded a song with a Dre beat was. It must have been like 2019, I think.
I think it was right before the pandemic.
Yeah, it was right before the pandemic because then the first EP Cortex and I ever put out is called Quarantine Rhyme King, and it was it was an attempt at a theme album about the you know, about the quarantine and COVID and all that shit. And the first two tracks on that EP were produced by Dre Haze, which was Quarantine Crush and COVID 420. And then I just, you know, I've been buying beats from him ever since. And you know, some of them are some that I heard on his SoundCloud that I've been like, hey, this. And some of them he's just sent my way. And then some of them like he's crafted for me specifically. Like the first track Smith EP. I don't know if you remember Mars, but it's called It's My Fault, White People.
Yeah, my very first interview, I went through your whole catalog and listened to which I try to do for everybody. So, you know, I hate when I see interviews and it's the same 4 questions every single time. So I've really tried to listen. So I listened to your whole catalog before we even, you know, started the interview. And, you know, I was like, yo, this dude has so much variety and talent and can like rap on any beat, and the beats were fire. And, you know, that was because of you two gentlemen. Everything y'all did and mixed together was just phenomenal. Al, you probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, Raps, besides Aflo, you've probably collaborated with Raps the most. Am I mistaken, or?
No, this is true. This is true.
Yeah, man. Fucking. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Johnny because the thing is that this white dude here, he put us all together. You know what I mean? And Dre, I'm just now meeting you, but you know, my relationship with Cortex is phenomenal. You know, that was able to extend into other things. My relationship with you, Mars. You know, so I want to give a shout out to Johnny for first of all playing Eminem and bringing all these black men together. You know what I mean?
E12, so, E12, we E12.
Yo, but on the real, like, yeah, man, I've been collaborating with Johnny for a minute. You know what I'm saying? He found me on through the socials. Found a joint I did off my first EP, and then like I feel like we did more songs than just the ones that are on these projects, if I'm not mistaken. But it's been a pleasure, you know what I mean? Especially the type of MC that he is. At first I was like, damn, like his style is so different. How am I gonna match that? How am I gonna match his energy? You know what I'm saying? But then when he got into his lyrical bag, it just felt seamless. Especially these songs that we did on these two projects. Like, it just feels natural, you know what I'm saying, rapping alongside him and everything. So yeah, man. Shout out to Johnny for that, yo. It's been great. But yeah, I probably with him. Probably second to other artists that I have that live in my neighborhood, but outside of my neighborhood, he's the one that I collaborated with the most.
Well, it's a beautiful union. We were talking offline, and we said he was telling me about a nice and smooth bag that he's trying to get you into, and I was like, yeah, I need that in my veins, injected directly into my
That's
veins.
exactly the vibe.
That's
I'm Smooth B. He's Greg Nice. Like
That's the way I see it
that's
too,
pretty
man.
funny.
It's the nice juxtaposition of the flavor, which is why those songs work so good.
Ooh, that was a $20 word. Hold on, how many syllables was that? We not just
Juxtaposition,
educating up here.
contrast.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, Cortex, you
Yes,
do
sir.
both. I think most of Al, you produce as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. NPC 2000.
Listen, and obviously Dre. So we most of us do both. Produce and rap, or produce and make music. I don't want to say rap because NYPD NYBD, not NYPD. NYBD is a different vibe. Um, for you, Cortex, as a producer and an artist, how do you approach collaborating with other people? Like, it's obviously two separate hats, two separate bags. But do you ever start producing something and then like, damn, I want to get in my artist bag on this? So you ever get that? Because that's the biggest thing with me. Like when I start producing and I start sending music out, I start feeling like Kanye. Not that I'm on Kanye's level, but I'm like, man, I want to rap on this myself. But I told rap myself I hate my voice, so it's hard. It's hard for me to actually put something out because I hate my voice, which is weird because I podcast. But do you ever get that feeling like, damn, I want to put an artist spin on this, or is it strictly
Yeah,
something?
I feel you. I'm pretty disciplined. I am who I am, like in real life, So I listen well. I'm coachable, even though I'm a leader. It's a key quality to being a good leader is being able to be a good listener and coachable. So I just really reflect energy. Uh, People come to my office, sit on my couch, tell me about their life, and I prescribe sound. So if Johnny or Al, whoever comes over, we're really just having conversations, vibing, having drink, talking. We're just chilling first, and then based on the vibe or the concept, we'll just dial up some sounds, or maybe have a something array in the chamber, and the den that already fits what they're talking about. To further answer your question, though, anytime I make a beat, I try to make it from a perspective of how I would get on it. Even if a Dre Hayes or Al Unique produces a track, I'm thinking about how we should come on it. Maybe a cadence or two, so that I know that I like it, But I won't get on it just because I want to get on it. Just like when I'm producing, a lot of conversations are like, I want to add so many more sounds, but the artist wants to leave sounds out because and I understand as an artist, you need space for the vocals. So
Right.
it's all at the same time, you know. But that's how I approach it. Basically, I approach it listening to what the artist wants to try to deliver what their vision is. It's their song at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we when we were talking about our origins, all of us named legends in the game who really inspired us and put us on. And I'm at the ripe old age. I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest person in here. I'm 40 plus. So I've seen it all. I'm 40
You
plus.
are the oldest person here. I want to confirm that.
By far.
I'm probably the oldest. 1978. Do I got you?
You got me. You got me.
Uh,
You got me. I'm 19. I'm 1980.
okay,
But
there you go.
you have all your hair, so it doesn't matter. You know? I'm here
I
thinking
do have a
about.
lot of hair.
I'm thinking of a trip to Turkey real soon. You see me up here like Nori, just be quiet. You know, just gonna have a straight Caesar in the next couple of months. But for me, looking at music, or particularly hip hop, since that's what we're talking about today, it seems like hip hop evolved rapidly, and now in the recent years, it feels like it's devolved, and nobody really, in my experience, are in it for the art anymore, or in it for the love anymore. And a lot of kids that 15, 16, that would really be when you start rapping and start taking it serious. They just want to be streamers now. They want to be Cassinet. They want to be Speed.
I hear what you're saying, Mark. Let me push back a tiny bit. My theory is the sucker MC has always been prevalent.
Mm,
So, we just have more access to more sucker MCs, but that's what makes the real MCs shine in all these eras. But it's always been whack shit, man.
that's
Always.
true.
But also, I gotta push back too a little bit. Here's my theory, right? You do have a lot of suckers out there, right? Especially, I want to say from 2008 to 2017, you had an issue where everybody was just sounding the same, and it wasn't the younger generation's fault. It was the way the industry was set up. They were only allowing certain people to blow up, right? As information that's been released recently has shown us, there's a lot of industry plants that were put in there. But if you look at the younger generation, a lot of them have actually very diverse tastes. I was working with a lot of young people in Brooklyn, right? A lot of these kids are from the projects and so forth. Yeah, they like the drill and all of that. That's our perception. They just like drill. But when you get beneath the surface, they were going back and listening to what their parents listened to. There's a lot of new artists that are not on the radio that have large fan bases, like Coda the Friend, and all these other artists that are younger that are doing like traditional hip hop in their own way. They're doing something where I can, how like normally for so many years, right? We could look at artists and say, damn, like I could do that. You know what I mean? My little sister could do that. Now I'm starting to see a shift on the independent level where that's no longer the case. A lot of the bubblegum and garbage is going to remain in the mainstream for a while, but sooner or later that stuff that's underground is going to come bubbling up. And I got playlists full of young talent that I'm listening to all the time that don't get no shine on the radio, but they have their fan bases and they make their money and they do their tours. For a long
Uh,
time, artists
Shout out
sounded.
to LL Cool J. He just did that recently. Put some new underground cats on his new mainstream album. So that's
Yeah,
a fact.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So the balance, and that's what it was for a long time. There was no balance in the game, and balance is what made the '90s dope. And I think that it may come back, but there's a whole ocean of young artists out there that are really dope that are not getting the shine they should get.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you. I think there's always been radio artists, which we all know a lot of that is payola, especially now when you look at the streaming platforms and things of that nature. A lot of that is payola. And you'll hear an artist that's independent and they're just killing who's selling 100 million streams or whatever. I don't even know how to calculate it anymore. That's another story in another
Yeah,
episode.
no one does.
No one does. It's whatever they say, you calculated it. I miss the physical copies. I think for me, that took a lot of the joy out of the music because if I went to the store, spent
Mhm.
$20 at Blockbuster Music or Sam Goodies or wherever I'm purchasing the album, I'm getting in my car, I'm putting the CD in, I'm not driving, I'm looking at the credits, who produced this, who wrote this, if it had the lyrics in it, even better. And then I'm listening. I haven't even driven yet. I'm listening to the album
Liner notes.
before I leave, looking at the liner
Yeah.
notes, looking, oh, okay, this is produced there, this is
Mars,
produced
did
there.
you read the shout outs in the liner notes? Did you always read who did the shot right now?
Oh yeah, like I knew the people. I'm like, oh shit, shout out to Pookie. Yeah, that's what's up. And I don't know any of these people, but that was my generation. So I appreciated the music, and it's a double edged sword because I felt there's always been gatekeepers in music. But sometimes a gatekeeper is necessary to keep some of this bullshit out. So it's really up to us now that everything is just super saturated, to really go out and find this art. And that's kind of what this platform is for, to give shine to artists. They may not have a gold plaque or platinum record, but they have platinum talent, gold talent. And that's kind of what we establish is for, to end some of this, how can I say it? It's a lot of corporate control in music that we should own. We are the creators, the artists, the producers, the DJs. We need more DJs. We need more people that's actually putting on music instead of, the check cleared, I'm going to go ahead and play this. So I say that to say this, and Dre, you mentioned that you're interested in getting back in the artist bag, or you may, put the pen to something. How do you feel with trends dominating the industry right now? How do you feel one can navigate staying original without being because there's always temptation to, go pop. We know Al Unique and Johnny Raps never go pop, but plug. Ding. But how do you navigate that challenge of trying to be authentic while also, trying to sell records, trying to make a living doing this thing that we call music that we love?
I think for me, I got to see that side of it, and I was actually chasing that for a minute, and I fell so out of love with it that I don't even do it for money at all. Like, I have to do this because I have to do this. I love it that much. So whatever comes out of me is not influenced by anything other than the shit that I love, and that's it. So when I start writing, it's not to catch anybody's attention. It might not have a hook. It might be one verse. It's just whatever the fuck I needed to get out of me, and that's just what it is. I don't have a problem with trying to appeal to everybody.
Absolutely. And like I always say, there's 8 billion people in this world. You get 10,000 that lock you down, you can make a living at this for the rest of your life and pass it on to your children. So we're going to get back to BAPS, but let's talk a little bit about, we're going to give a little taste, and then we're going to go back. Let's talk a little bit about ODC, Old Dirty Cracker. It's coming up next month. Oh, I thought she was cursing at me. I was like, don't let me.
Oh, did I hear my foolishness?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. It sounds
There's
like
a quick check. There's an argument going on. I'm on Miami Beach, so I'm outside in public. There's an argument going on. This lady's like, we're on Miami Beach. I don't hear no music. And the guy was like, I got music. So I don't want to hear none of that music about pussy and dicks. What's that real hip hop at? Hilarious. Hilarious.
I've heard plenty of music about pussy. I haven't heard too much music about dick. That must be a bad boy thing. But I kid. What were you gonna say, Raps?
No, yeah, we can touch on Old Dirty Cracker.
So tell me a little bit about.
Pause.
I was about to say, somebody pause that.
Because I think the name came out before the beats came. Am I right?
Yeah, it was something that I started calling myself actually while I was working on some of these BAPS tracks. You'll hear me reference it in the BAPS album. So that persona, started to come to life. I mean, there's just a couple different Johnny Raps personas there that are all under the same, signature sound, signature brand, and all of that. Just like Eminem is sometimes authentically himself, sometimes he's Slim Shady, sometimes he's like, I don't know, fucking Rain Man, Christopher Reeves weirdness, so he's got those different.
Sometimes he's Cartman,
alter egos.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So and with all of my projects, I want every project that comes out to sound like its own thing, right? So some of these tracks actually were being recorded even in some of the same sessions as some of the stuff that came out on Part-Time Rapper. It was just Part-Time Rapper had its own feel. It came together first. And, you know, if there's anything, you know, pop sounding that we do, it was probably that project, and it's all with this sense of irony and this kind of like, you know, winking at the listener as like, you know, this is it's as a jab to the industry as much as embracing that's the sound. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it comes off that way, but that was the intent. And then at the same time we were doing that, you know, we were recording these like hardcore boom bap tracks that I was getting from Dre. So, you know, that album has actually been in the works since, I want to say, I mean, on one of the tracks, you hear me in an ad lib say 2022 and beyond. And I didn't take that out on purpose, because I kind of wanted people to know how long
I'm working on
this body of work. So, you know, some things up there, it all came to fruition. They're all tracks produced by Dre. You know, we're both from Blairsville, so it's Blairsville raps, baps, boom baps, all that shit. And then as I was wrapping up this album, you know, I was in that zone. Thinking of the bars, feeling that the old dirty cracker persona coming to life. And then, you know, Mars started sending me beats, and I think just because of the zone that I was in, and just the creation of this other project, like this old dirty cracker project just kind of wrote itself. Like I don't know how. Only a couple months we worked on it, and you know, you would send me a beat.
I only sent you what, 15, 20 tracks?
You send me a handful of beats at a time, and I would just like zero in on one or two of them, and it would just be like a train ride home from work, and I wrote the song. And then, you know, I would go record. I don't know. It came together very quickly, and I mean, it's in the bag. It's ready to go. We got 11 tracks of more boom bap, like lyrical freshness that is again very similar to what we got going on in Baps. It's very similar sounding. Still, they sound like two different cohesive projects, but right. You'll see that same the same persona kind of evolve more. And I latched onto that old dirty cracker thing. I mean, every time I say it, it kind of gets a nice giggle or a reaction from somebody, and you know, I think it fits the vibe of the album, the vibe of what I've been doing. When I come to life on stage, I try to bring some of that old dirty bastard energy. I kind of like, you know.
No, you definitely bring the energy.
The gods and the hip hop spirits.
The legendary Ice-T always says, if you're a professional artist, you gotta have 4 albums in the bag before you drop any project. So, Raps is on his way to becoming a legendary artist.
I agree. I think
not a catalog, if nothing else, man.
Absolutely, and that'll be able to, you know, that's going to be there forever.
But the vision, you got to be when you're a professional, you got to have the vision. So I'm going to release this, then I'm going to release this vibe, I'm going to release this mode. So you have to be structured for the youth listening to this podcast, right? You got to be structured and have a plan, and you have to put that plan to action. You can't just have the thought or the dream. You got to have it mapped out, write it down, make it real, manifest it.
Absolutely.
Once I get this old dirty cracker shit out of my system, there's a lot of people that have been asking for a non-explicit Johnny Raps album.
That's a Christian album you was talking about, right? Not just
yeah, the Christian album, exactly. So we're gonna give them. I aim to deliver, and we got a funk project in the works. Me and Cortex are working on John E. Funk. Right now it's projected to drop for Christmas. We still got some work to do on it, but it's off to a very good start.
I'm in Miami right now, John. I'm in Miami right now, adding some live brass to it, so it's real funk.
Fucking A, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There
Let's,
you go.
let's talk a little bit about it, man. Let's talk a little bit. I've heard a little bit, just a sneak peek, and I love what I heard. And I love the variety. Some of my favorite artists, they have albums that sound completely different. That if you didn't look at the name, you would be like, "Oh, I didn't know this was the same artist." This is crazy that they have this variety, and a lot of people don't know. You're classically trained. It's not like you just picked up and like, "I'm going to make music." No, you studied this. You studied the art. You know about music. Same thing with you, Cortex. You know the music. You actually know the theory behind it. You know what's going on, and I feel there's a lot of BS out there for the simple fact that people don't really want to study and hone their craft. I look at it more like a sport. If you're playing basketball and you don't shoot free throws and you don't practice, unless you're Allen Iverson, you're not gonna make it. What are some of the steps that you guys, and I want to hear from all of you, if there's a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, if you're 12, you shouldn't be looking at this. But if you're 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old looking at this and you're like, hey, man, I love music. I want to get into this. What were the first steps that you would tell that kid? Like, all right, man, this is what you need to do if you want to enter this industry. Because, we hear every day a lot of the horror stories of the industry. It's one of the toughest industries in the world. What would you recommend to that 15, 16-year-old kid that wants to pick up the MPC machine and make beats, or wants to pick up a pen and write music? What would be a tip that you would give that child to, set him on the right path, him or her on the right path?
I got a pro tip. Buy my book, NYBD, Not Your Baby Daddy. I don't even know what it's called. Keys to Success in the Music Business. I believe the first chapter is believe in yourself and take action. That's the first step. Believe in yourself, take action, and just do it. Jay-Z said, creativity ends when thinking begins. So you just gotta, if you're an artist, be an artist. That'll be my initial response to that question.
Al, how about you?
I say definitely remain consistent. Also just be let your don't put no limit on your imagination. You know what I mean? Definitely test out different sides of yourself as an artist. Try to feel comfortable in being vulnerable about yourself, because that's where a lot of your material is going to come from, and it keeps you from being repetitive. So always come from a real place, and try to stay consistent, and strengthen your networks, build relationships, genuine relationships with people that you work well with and that you mesh well with. Maintain those relationships.
That's key, Dre.
I would probably say a lot of like what I was talking about, and just staying curious and consistent. Because if you and not worrying so much about just being famous, just do some homework and find some things, something new, something different that you like, and let that help evolve your style into something that's unique, and just keep putting that in people's faces and just be yourself. And eventually those that will be the diehard, your cult following, they'll find you, and that can pay for whatever it needs to and give you the accolades that you need, and you can do what you love doing instead of trying to conform to something, and then it turns into like work and not something that you love.
Man, I feel like we need to pass the plate around. We're giving gospel here. Raps, how about you? What wise words would you give to the youth? The truth to the young black youth.
My preamble before my wise words is, I don't know how much I'm the one to be listening to, because I still got a long way to go in this rap shit, and I'm 39. But here's the thing: I would say never give up on a project.
Mm-hmm.
What Cortex is saying is paramount, not to overthink shit, because I might have been recording rap music a lot sooner, a lot earlier in my life if I wasn't overthinking stuff, because it is something that I always wanted to do. It's just something that I didn't think that I would get the support on. And if anybody that is trying to pursue an artistic endeavor, as not just a lifestyle but as a career, it's very hard to find support on that to begin with. So when I was younger, I'm an actor as well. I haven't done any acting in a very long time because I've been very focused on my music. But for 10 years, I was, I made a living doing regional stage theater in Philadelphia, PA, which is, I think there's a lot to be said for that because
it's a hell of an accomplishment.
it's very hard to make a living off of just doing Shakespeare. You got to do a lot of shows. But, so I was doing Shakespeare and sketch comedy and stuff like that. But that was something in my youth, me being from, where I was from, that was something that my parents were readily willing to support. Right. And, these were the same people that were like throwing out my Snoop Dogg CDs because they were like reading the lyrics inside the cover and not liking what they were seeing and shit. They even threw out fucking Green Day tapes. So, I was highly policed with the content that I was able to consume. I still did it. I would just go hide with my boombox and my cassette tapes and, listen to Snoop quietly over under the tree or whatever. But
these nuts. I just see you behind a pecan tree.
So many copies of Doggy Style I went through, bro. So many copies. But yeah, man, it was just, I didn't see myself maybe getting the support in that I thought I was gonna get. But even when I was acting in Philadelphia, I was still looking around, trying to find connections, like trying to figure out how I could like maybe work my way into the hip hop scene. That's where I met Aflo, and I would just, he would just kind of like, he was like my coach, my hip hop coach. I would like, spit him some rhymes. And at the time I was doing this whole, because I was an actor, I was doing this character thing where I was Jesus as a rapper, white Jesus that is rapping to the people and shit. And he was be like, I don't know about the whole white Jesus thing, man, but you got something going on. I could see it. It was always there. And I feel like I was always just getting ready because I never gave up on the idea of me being an MC becoming a thing, even though it seemed like such a small chance. It's what I really wanted to do. And I think it kind of manifested through the energy that I was putting into it at the time. I mean, I was kind of really down and out when I moved to Brooklyn for various reasons. And, I wasn't getting a lot of work. I was about to be, basically homeless if things didn't kind of change. And so I was just like walking around Brooklyn, hitting up dive bars and writing rhymes. And I was just filling up a notepad, not really knowing what was going to happen with it, if anything. And then I met a producer at a bar, and the rest is history. So, I would just say never give up on a project, but also take the Cortex advice. Don't overthink shit so much because, again, I feel like I'm in a good place. I don't want to discount where I'm at, and everybody's journey is unique, So I have a unique story to tell because I am kind of an unlikely demographic to make it, which is also part of the brand. That's also something that I play up as Johnny Raps. Like, yeah, I am, 39-year-old white guy in Brooklyn from the middle of Pennsylvania, just trying to make this shit work.
Yeah,
that's what my first album, Part-Time Rapper, is all about. So
I love that. And we were talking about this offline. You could throw 39 out the off the table. You're young because LL's 56. and he's dropped one of the most phenomenal hip hop
Too.
albums of the year. Eminem's 51, and he just dropped one of the most phenomenal hip hop albums of the year. Nas is in his 50s, and he's been on a renaissance for the last 3 or 4 years.
My only argument to that is those guys have been famous for decades.
They have been famous for decades. That's very true.
But they didn't stick to a certain sound that was just of a time to be popular. They stayed students of it.
They stayed students of it. You're absolutely right, because being famous at 16, doing the same thing at 56, that's a hell of an accomplishment, because the times have changed. I think it was Cortex who said, you didn't like that, because, there was a brief moment like in the late 70s, early 80s, where exactly everything was like, I went to the store and bought me a hat, then I sat down to kill the rat. And you're like, oh shit, this is awful. This isn't gonna make it. I can see why people was like, oh no, this genre isn't gonna make it. But it's almost like technology. Every year it just doubled in power to where we have it now, where you have so much variety, and you have, artists that are lyrical miracle. You have artists that's just making drug dealer music, artists that's making drug user music. I mean, look at Pusha T. He's from my area. He's been rapping about cocaine for 25 years, but it still works. So I think you have to throw age out off the table, because some of in my opinion, all of the best artists are at least 40 years old, at least, that's making music that I want to listen to.
The Zelda boys are fairly new. They got in the game. I mean, they've been grinding for a long time, but they didn't really start bubbling until their late 30s.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so they fairly new, and they in their 40s right now, and they still, they embrace.
DMX's first album that come out, so he was 30. I think he was 29 when we heard "Get at Me, Dog." So
yeah.
Well, again, we talk about living your truth and embracing that, and to that end, Cortex. I don't even know if I told you. I talked to Mars a little bit about this, but I'm very into something that I think will be a powerful project, and it's again, I like to parody people. So Old Dirty Bastard, Old Dirty Cracker. Adele did 19. So right now I'm working on 39.
Hey, there you go. Adele did it.
It's just like a bunch of journal entries, bro. It's gonna be.
She's also in an interracial relationship.
Yeah, you and Adele have something in common. There you go. Well, anything I can contribute, because I love growth in my music. I also write reviews, and I try to be completely honest. And there's been some artists that I really rock with that just really disappointed me, because they're trying to be NLE Choppa, and I'm like, why? You're 44. Why are you rapping? Slept me out. That's not for you. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear your life, because I believe if you're a talented artist, you can rap about what you had for lunch and make it sound dope. You know what I mean? You can tell me a story about the first time that you got a pimple and make it sound dope. If you have that level of creativity. So speaking of creativity, I'm not very tech savvy, but I'm trying to get ahead of it so I don't get left behind. And anything I produce 5 podcasts and write for 2. So, and I work a full-time regular job. So I try to look for any type of technology that can make my life easier. So I've been fiddling around with AI, and it's really scary to me, because a lot of the shit is trash, but some of it isn't bad. Have any of you guys sampled with AI, and what do you think? What does that do for us as producers, as artists? Is it something that can be a tool to help us, or are we gonna at some point just have straight up digital MCs that don't even exist in flesh and blood? They're just a voice in a computer, and it's really scary to me. They already do. So, what
Definitely
are you
do.
guys' opinion on AI? Is it a helpful tool? Can it be a helpful tool, or is it pretty much Skynet? Are we about to have Terminators rapping? Like, what's next?
I mean, it definitely. They already do, like you were saying, they already do have the AI rappers that you can create anything, but like they do it for production too. Like even what you were saying, you can just hum into your phone and then it creates the melody for you and all that shit. Like it just it just makes a further disconnect from actual creativity, I feel like, and it's just gonna make everything kind of sound the same. And but at the same time though, there's still always going to be that pocket of people that aren't going to just do that shit, and they're going to search for something and it's going to come out with that little bit of human error and creativity to it, and then it'll stand out, but it's only going to stand out to certain people that are looking for that type of shit. So it's bittersweet, but it could be oversaturated though. I can definitely see where that can just make everything oversaturated real quick.
Yeah, you always gotta use the tools available to you, but you can't replicate the soul, you know. So
For sure.
when we add that element into the sound, we remain who we are.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I think people will always. I mean, there. My fiance, for example. I feel like she is like two different ways of listening. Like, she hears a song, she doesn't know anything about the artist at all, and it's like, oh, that's a bop, and it ends up on a playlist because algorithmically she listened to it a couple times, and so now it's on her playlist, and it's a bop or whatever. We don't really know much about that artist. In my mind, that an AI song could be successful in that regard. But then on the other end of the spectrum, there's almost no middle. It's either that or she like knows everything about that artist and like knows their whole discography and is going to see their shows, super fan stuff, like, so I mean, she just wouldn't be as into Meg if Meg was a fucking AI, because she's into Meg because she's into Meg.
Right.
It almost doesn't matter the song. Nicki Minaj, same thing. It's just she's into the person, and
Right.
so with successful artists like that, they are part of the cultural zeitgeist for a reason. It's because people can connect with them, and I don't think people are going to be able to connect with the AI, and they may be fooled by one song or something, but then once they start looking into it, once they start going to research their new favorite artist and find out there's nothing to connect with, then there is going to be no connection. It'll be a disconnect, and I don't think it'll make it very
Personality sells. I mean, that's social media is big because of personality. People really like other people's lifestyles. People are followers. So once you give them something to attach to, humans will still be around.
Hey, I
And
mean,
to
Taylor
my bad,
Swift,
John.
Taylor Swift is like not a great anything, right? Like she's just
Taylor
just
Swift?
relatable.
She's a
That's
really long bat.
I got a I got a better example for you. You see, like Ice Spice and Sexy Red were bubbling right on the mainstream tip. You hear their songs everywhere. Some of us were scared that that's what was going to be the next wave because their songs was everywhere. You kept seeing them, but then once their projects dropped, it flopped. They only got like 20. They only moved like 20,000 their first week, something like that. It didn't do well as these other artists who don't
well
get as much radio play. Yeah, it didn't do well like other artists who get a lot of radio play like that. You know what I'm saying? There's other artists that don't get as much radio play. They performed a lot better than them because they have a real audience, because they're real people, they're real artists that are well rounded. So and this goes to your conversation earlier, Mars, when we were talking about young people in the game and all of that. I think it's going to be the same thing with this AI thing. I think for a minute it's going to look like it's the wave because it's going to be new and all of that and everything. And for a lot of us, we're going to be scared. But then over time, the industry tricks are gonna show, and it's just gonna remain in a certain space where casual listeners will like it, like what you're saying about your fiance. They'll gain a lot of casual listeners, So people that are really into music, people that are gonna buy merch, people that are gonna go to shows and things like that, they're not gonna follow these AI characters. They're gonna have to keep inventing new shit, new ways to co-opt the culture, new ways to infiltrate the culture. They're gonna have to keep pivoting and doing that, while real people, true artists, are gonna continue with their fan bases and continue making music. It's no longer. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we should hold on to the mega superstar artists anymore, because that's what the industry's trying to replicate over and over again, right? But there's so many artists, like you said, you get 10,000 and you're eating, and there's gonna be a lot of those out there still, even with this AI bullshit. And the AI thing is a slippery slope. Maybe it can be a useful tool in some ways. I have yet to see it, as a way to correct some things, but I don't really see it really. I think people are going to gravitate to the human being. People are going to want to, real people, real fans are going to want to see themselves in the art that's being produced.
I got a question about that though. Do you feel like they could use the AI to push a certain human being that they put there? So use the AI to create the whatever the song is, the
I think
melody,
so.
and then just put a face on it, and that be the personality of whoever.
It's so
I
funny that
think
you
that'll
asked.
work so well.
There was an artist that just got sued. He made $10 million from creating all the music from AI artist, AI sound, AI produced, AI voice. It wasn't him, it was just an AI voice. And then he loaded it on the DSPs. And then because he was a computer guy, he also created bots to stream the
Damn.
music. And he made $10 million. And now he's getting sued for that, which I'm like, a lot of
The
these
whole ecosystem was fake. That's so genius, bro.
That's crazy.
everything was fake. It was a whole internal. It was almost like I see in my day job where I see these attorneys that have chiropractors on the payroll to say, "Oh, my back hurts," so they can sue the insurance companies. It's kind of the same thing. I'm not mad at him pimping the system, but for me, all of my favorite artists, and if I did my top, not just hip hop, but I'm just talking about my favorite artists, the one thing that is consistent is that I F with the person. And that kind of goes to what you guys were saying. Like people that I would go to a show for, it costs nothing to stream. I have about 5 streaming services. If I ever did a Rocket Money, I know I'm spending $200 a month on streaming services that I don't even have the password for anymore, because you just sign up for this music and they put these playlists. But the artists that I actively look for, they make me feel something. I don't care if you hit perfect pitch or you're the most lyrical. You have to make me feel something. And once I feel something, I'm all in. Like for some reason, I've been in like a Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes phase for like the last 3 weeks, and I've
Speaking
just
of,
been.
speaking of
Shout out to
samples,
Luke. Shout out to Luke.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying. Speaking of samples, that's all. Great sampling material right there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But it's just their voices. Like I don't hear anybody that sounds like that.
Because you hear the experience and the personality and the person. They have origin stories, So you hear that soul, that pain, that grit, the artistry.
Right.
AI can't replicate that ever.
Yeah. You're like, oh no,
But
he
but you
walked
can
in
measure
on.
it, like you said.
Yeah, it's generational. So I think that's what people need to do is go back digging in the crates. I think we all, for the most part, there's a shared story, especially in the black community, of your first taste of music was listening to what your parents listened to. I know my mom every Saturday at 7 a.m. she was going to put on some Motown because that's what she grew up in. So I picked up a lot of that. And then my dad, when he was in Vietnam, he had all these vinyls that he brought back. And so he would put the vinyl on, or actually 45, he put the 45 on, and then he'd quiz me. And he'd be like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, "Average White Band." He's like, "Correct. Put this on." "Who's this?" "Queen." "Correct." "Who's this?" "Stevie Wonder." "Correct." "Who's this?" And I would just listen and absorb and absorb. So I just love music. Like if any of y'all got my phone, you probably look at me differently because you'd be like, "What is this shit? Is that Bjork? What are you listening to?" But I just,
Tough.
I just love music. I love that. It just nourishes me. So I think it's all about the feeling at the end of the day. It make you feel, and that's why I connect with raps. That's why I connect with Al Dre. That's why I connect with your beats. Same thing with you, Cortex.
Does your name come from Bjork albums?
No, my nickname is just Mars is Marshall, and everybody had a Z in the '90s. So you drop the S and you get Mars. There's no incredible story behind it. It's just real. We were all rapping when we were. I have a funny story. I think it was 1991, whenever Desert Storm happened. I was in this class for gifted students. We all read at a high college level, like in third grade. So the news is coming down because we had all these kids that were reading at a college level, and they're like 8 or 9. And our teacher was like, "Hey, I want you to write a poem about Desert Storm because I live in Hampton Roads, which is a military town. So a lot of the parents were gone in Desert Storm. And they were like, we want to know how you feel." So everybody was like, "I feel war is bad because my dad might get killed or whatever." I grew up with a brother that was 10 years older to be playing hip hop. So I was like, I'm going to write a rap. So I wrote a rap about Desert Storm. And the news was like, "Oh, fuck those kids. Let's talk about this rapping kid." They forgot about the other kids, and it was just me. So I'm reading my rap, and I became like a neighborhood celebrity. That was like my first taste of fame. I was like getting
Stole
free
the
chicken
spotlight in '91.
sandwiches, high schoolers coming to the elementary school to battle me, which was crazy because I was like, "You drove to an elementary school to battle a child? That's nasty work." But I was like killing these dudes because I could just, for me, freestyling is easy. Composing a song with a chorus and it's hard. But just freestyling off the top of my dome, I could throw in a beat right now and freestyle for an hour. It was easy to me. But then when I actually learned the construction of making a bop, making a hit, that's when I was like, let me be on the interview side because it's a lot more difficult to actually make a consistent themed song versus just rhyming words together. So it was, but that was my first taste of like, oh, this music thing, this could be for me. But I wanted to be in a boy band, low key. I wanted to sing, but I have, like I said, I hate my voice. But forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, it's just the feeling of music is what I was getting to. It's just making you feel something. But yeah, that was dope. But guys, man, this has been so fun. This has definitely been one of the most incredible. It felt like a TED talk, and I loved it. So I appreciate all four of you gentlemen sharing your views, telling me about music, telling me what you got going on, sharing it with the
We
friends.
appreciate being down in the den. Thanks for the
Always,
platform.
Okay.
it's a community. I'm gonna be up there in October, so hopefully I get an opportunity to catch up with some of you guys in person. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to promote anything you got because I want the people to make sure that they're following you. So, Cortex, if you want to start, and we'll just go around the room, let people know what you got going on, where they can find you, anything you want to promote. The floor is yours.
Well, you can Google Harlem Jungle. Everything is Harlem Jungle. Anything I do with any of the gentlemen on the platform, that's kind of the hub to get to everything. Because at the end of the day, I'm a music producer, so I produce a lot of sound for a lot of people. My NYBD bag, I got a couple albums sitting on, working on releasing more and more singles. Just out of the love for music, I'm inspired all the time by things. So I'm always just creating and vibing and having conversations. So, at Howlin' Jungle, text to everything, or at NYBD with 4 underscores.
Absolutely. Please check them out. When we were talking about the NYBD project, it really is like Lenny Kravitz and Old Dirty Bastard put baby oil on and had a beautiful baby, and
1,000 bottles, baby, 1,000 bottles.
1,000 bottles. That's the new motto. I think that might be a song we might have to collaborate on. 1,000 bottles.
Sure.
Al, please let people know where they can find you.
Peace, peace. You can find me on unique_noise with a Z and an E at the end on Instagram. You can find my work on all streaming platforms. I got a project out already that came out a couple years ago called Swag and Substance. So that joint's out there. It's a lot of bangers on there, including Shea Butter, which was a very popular single I had. And then I got a new joint coming out in October called Long Live the Righteous, all recorded at Cortex studio. That joint took about 2 years to make. So many versions of the same song. I got a couple singles out on that already, which are damn, how am I gonna blank out on my own singles, bro?
Barlord,
Huh?
Barlord.
Barlord, yeah, Barlord is one thing is a banger. That's for the streets. And then I got and then I got damn, what's that other joint text with my man on it with the singing? You know what I'm talking about? I'm blanking out on my own shit, man. Yeah, so I got two
Lioness,
singles out right
lioness,
now. Check out, huh?
lioness.
Lioness. Word, thank you. I can't believe I blinked out on that. So check out Barlord and Lioness. Those two singles already out. Lioness is for the ladies. Singing on a hook. My man Say La Vie and my people's ghetto gentleman, Ramel and Raza, two twin brothers on there singing. It was a pleasure recording that joint. So look out for them joints that's out already, and look out for Long Live the
Great
Righteous
time.
coming out in October.
Please check that out. And yeah, that's
All
Shea
right.
Butter. I've crushed a lot of cheeks to that song. So thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
son.
Absolutely.
Wingman.
There might be a little Mars walking around here somewhere, and thanks to you. So I appreciate that. I'll send the child
I got a
support check.
baby maker out there.
There you go. There you go. Dre, I know you don't do social media, but if people want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
If you want to connect with me, just hit my email at drehaze412@gmail.com. Other than that, I'm kind of completely off the grid, and I like it that way. It's allowing me to focus on what's around me right now, and I've just been really collaborating with people that I personally know. Not that I'm against collaborating with other people, but like that's just really where I've been focusing. I'm actually working on a soul R&B gospel type album right now, and
Okay. Hezekiah
it's
Walker vibes.
it's a little different, but I'm loving where we're taking it, and that's going to be a minute to get out. But when I get that all squared away, I'm gonna definitely tap in with you and see if we can talk about that a little bit. But
Absolutely.
as far as anything that I got out, everything that I got with raps, and I have one other artist. I got a couple singles out. It goes by Jeff Stone Music. You can find him on all platforms. I think we got 3 singles out. That's all the singles that he has out. But yeah, that's really it right now. Just focusing and trying to get back into it
We
and
was
stuff.
going down.
For sure, for sure.
Absolutely. So please check that out. I'm looking for it. We got to nourish the soul. I love nourishing my feet and the ears, but we got to nourish the soul too. So when that project is ready, we'd be more than happy to have you on and share it. And of course, raps. Please let people know where they can find you.
Yo, the name is Johnny Raps. That's John-E-Raps. My handle for all social media is at Johnny Raps without the hyphens. And yeah, Baps just dropped last month, so check it out. I'm really proud of the project. Again, fully produced by Dre Haze. Got Al Unique on a couple different tracks there. And the whole thing was mixed by Cortex, as it always is. And then also literally the only person that contributed to this album that's not here right now is Mad Beats. And Mad Beats mastered all the tracks. So shouts to Mad Beats. That's the homie. And well, yeah, bro, we got my next show coming up is October 26th. It's a Saturday at 5 o'clock. So it's a nice afternoon show. Get you nice and started up for the evening, and then send you on your way to do whatever other debauchery you want to get into in New York City that night. But it's a Saturday. Um, I believe How Unique is performing with me that evening. I believe Dre Haze is going to be on the boards that evening. I
I'll be
still got
there.
my
I'll
around.
be there doing a little intro.
Mars will be in the house.
To introduce the show. It's kind of coinciding with the release of Old Dirty Cracker. Right now, I'm projecting Old Dirty Cracker to drop on October 22nd. So a month from the day, and then that weekend we'll celebrate its release, and it's going to be a good time at the Delancey. Damn, I wish I had the address on me right now. But it's the Delancey NYC. Hit me up on my DMs if you want more information. The tickets are $15, and I hope to see you all there. And in the meantime, go tap into BAPS on all platforms.
Please
Yes,
come.
sir.
And whoever who puts the first comment when this drops, if you're in the NYC area, I will get you 2 tickets to the show on the Down in the Den family. So come on out, and I'll give you a password. I see you. I'll buy you a drink or 2. I don't really drink anymore, but I will be smoking. So if you want to cheat with the boy, please, the Down in the Den family welcomes you. The Holland Jungle family, the How You Need Noise family, the Dre Haze family. We all one umbrella, one family. I appreciate you, gentlemen. You guys are the Fantastic Four for making quality music. I appreciate you guys. I don't know who's Reed Richards and who's you guys can work that out between yourselves. But you guys are fantastic and amazing. I appreciate you for coming in, joining us on this episode of Down.
Before we get, man, I just want to thank all you guys for working on my shit, man. It means a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
putting us together again, bro. A lot of this wouldn't have been possible without you. And also, big shout out to my people, Stay La Vie and Tahila, who I worked with as well.
Shout out to those incredible artists. So you know what we need y'all to do? The same thing that we do every episode. I need you to turn those notification on. When these episodes drop, you'll know. If you're streaming the audio, then make sure you subscribe so you can get all these episodes fresh right out the oven when they drop. And leave a comment, like I said, the first comment, you get 2 tickets to the show. I'll be there. Cortex will be there. Raps will be there. Haze will be there, so you can see us all. And like I said, I'll give you a password. I'll get you a drink, and we're gonna have a good old time. October 26th. It's getting spooky.
NYC.
If you don't know the address, use your Googles. Yeah, and I know you got a damn iPhone. Use your Googles and get the address and come on down and celebrate and party with us. So, guys, once again, thank you, gentlemen, for coming out, giving me your time on this lovely day. You guys outside got me jealous. I'm about to go and get me some sunshine because my head looking a little pale right now. I'm looking like I'm stage 4, but I'm good. I'm just balding. I'm fine. I'm healthy. So for all the team, thank you guys again. You know how we end every episode. It's all about peace, love, unity, and respect. Deuces.
Peace.